Hello, fellow Redbirds. Welcome to Bird Fans Forever podcast number 44. Please follow us on our @BirdFansForever Twitter account to be notified of our latest podcast videos and participate in our fun polls. Also, go visit our website, www.birdfansforever.com, where you can find a list of our previous podcasts. Finally, go visit Bird Fans Forever on YouTube and slam dunk that subscribe button. YouTube has our archive of classic Redbird games that we've obtained from so many kind Redbird fans who shared their video libraries with us. We're still adding to our list of online games, so head over there to YouTube site and find an old game to watch. A good game to watch from our archive is the 1988 Redbirds game versus Indiana State, a great game from today's guest and a Redbird win. And just wanted to say a word here to help our Redbirds. Go get your Empower the Nest beer from Keg Grove Brewing Company. We'll make sure they kick up production for the beer when this video goes viral. Our guest today played for the Illinois State Redbirds basketball team from 1986 to 1990 and was on the team and played with Jon for all those years. We've been looking forward to this podcast for a while since this podcast number matches this player's jersey number. We'll be right back with RB4L, Sonny Wray.
Met you before. Great to be with you gentlemen also. I've been watching every podcast. I've watched every single one, and I've enjoyed them. So I think you guys are doing a great job. Seriously.
Good.
Learned a lot.
Thanks, brother.
Learned a lot of players, a lot of coaches, learned a lot of things. Seriously, it's great. I mean, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So, all right, we'll get you your first one. So normally we ask, how'd you get to ISU? But we want to back up a step. Everybody hears me refer to you as Sonny Wray. You played with me as Sonny Wray Roberts. You want to explain that?
I was actually Sonny Roberts in high school because that was my stepfather's name. So when my biological father died, his last name was Ray. He died when I was a freshman in high school. And then sometime after that, my stepfather was like, I'd like to adopt you. Will you take my last name? I was like, okay. Young high school kid, I don't know what the hell's going on. So I was like, sure. My mom was fine with it. So I was Sonny Roberts in high school, and then, of course, went to ISU with Sonny Roberts there. And then I got married shortly after we graduated, Pimp, as you know, you were there.
I was there.
Ray Roberts, or being confusing, why don't we just change our last, all of us, just change our last name to Ray and just keep it simple. And I was like, well, it kind of makes sense. So, we went to the lawyer in Rockford and went in front of the judge, and all three of us changed our last name to Ray, and it's been that way ever since. And so that was 1990, and then our daughter was born 91, December 91, and then it was like a year after that or two, I think it was maybe a year or two after that, so we're talking like 92, 93, getting recruited by a whole bunch of schools. I don't know. I was lucky, and my coach sent me to BC All-Star Camp. Now, they used to be in Rensselaer, Indiana, and then they had one down in Macon, Georgia. I don't even know if you're still around, but it was an invite-only camp. And because my coach was my coach and well-known throughout the state, etc., knew a lot of college coaches, all that, he had one invite, and he sent me I think it was the summer before my sophomore year. He sent me down there. It might have been the summer before my junior year. I don't remember. But he sent me down to this BC All-Star Camp in Rensselaer, Indiana. I mean, just every coach, every major coach in the country. I mean, you name it. I mean, all the best players were there. Steve Alford, all these guys. I mean, just all the guys were there. And actually, I think Cliff was there also from our team. But yeah. And now I didn't know him at the time, but I think he was there the same week that I was there. But because I remember Cliff talking about it after we were at ISU. But so because he sent me that, that got my name out, and all the recruiting and all that stuff. And then so that all started. And when it came to ISU, wasn't my first contact, but I remember in the summer, it was probably that same summer. Coach Platt was at open gym. I remember my stepdad would always pick me up, take me to whatever, whenever I had to go to school or go to a game or whatever, Coach Goers, my high school coach, knew him, and I think it was a no contact period or something, like come and talk to me. But throughout high school, either my parents drove me everywhere. They didn't let me get my license. So, and I remember it was kind of weird. My mom was talking to him. We were playing open gym, and I went out after we were done and got in the car. And my mom says, "I talked to that coach from Illinois State, Sonny. He was very nice." And I was like, "Oh, that's weird. My mom doesn't like anybody." So I was like, I don't know what this guy said to my mom for my mom to be, say something nice about him, but whatever. So that was my very first contact. And then the main thing I remember from being recruited was Coach Smith, Terry Smith. He was the main guy that I talked to on the phone. I won't say all the time, but he was regularly talking to me. And there was one game. It was my no, it wasn't. It was my junior year. It was before I'd signed. Signed my letter of intent in the fall period of our senior year, John, and I think it was. And there was a snowstorm. I mean, bad storm, and we were playing at Harlem in Rockford, and I couldn't believe it that Coach Smith. It was a Friday night, and he showed up with him and his beautiful wife, and I was like, I felt embarrassed. Like, he waited for me after the game. I mean, it was a snowstorm. It was bad. And this guy drove through it and waited for me after the game, and he was going to drive back to Normal. I was impressed by that.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy is sincere. I mean, it was real, and he just came across as a legit guy, and so that was part of it. Coach Smith was a big part of it. And then I remember there was a game that I think was that same season. Me and Danny went down to a game at Horton, and I don't remember who it was against, but I just remember going to the game. We just really weren't. You're a high school kid, just really impressed with Horton and the how. It's going to sound funny, but how bright and shiny the court was.
Right.
All the lights in Horton, it was just like wow, and of course this, you see the fans and they're going crazy. And think the junior year for Ricky and Lou and Michael and those guys, because our senior year was their senior year, so this probably would have been like their junior year. And I was just really liked each other, like they all got along well. Official visit, we just went to a game. I stayed with Jim, but. So that was big for me too, and then fall of my senior year, Illinois State was one of my visits, and Jeff and Matt out there in Manchester, whatever, and that visit.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was when you stayed with them too. That's of course all that's impressive too to some degree, but you're a high school kid and the weird things impress you. But then I remember. After the game, we were in the locker room, and so this would have been impressed with just the camaraderie. Like, we were in the locker room with these guys, and they're just the camaraderie between them and how they were joking with us and me and Danny, and it was just like you just kind of got a feeling like these guys really a really good atmosphere. I know obviously it was in a win in Horton after a game, but. I got a good feel from that one visit, and that was an unofficial visit. It was just for whatever, I don't even remember the reason. We just went down, stayed there with them, and good and everything. And Coach Donowald kind of pulled the recruiting tree, and he's like, right before I'm getting ready to leave. Now my parents had left Sunday. I stayed overnight on Sunday night, and they left Sunday. They left me there. I'm like, I was wondering, like, how am I going to get back, And right before I was getting ready to leave, Coach is like, those two things. I mean, the camaraderie that I saw between Ricky and Lou and Big Hank was in the locker room, and just all these guys, the way they got together. I just thought, wow, these guys are winning ball games, and they all seem to get along and like each other. And during the had came to my house and there were more than one coach that warned me if you will, in so many different ways about how tough Coach Donewald was, and just his personality and how he handles players and all those things. And I was just like, I heard it from more than one other coach that he went up against, if you will. But I was like, I don't really care. These guys win. In our high school years, John, they went 83, 84, 85. They went to the NCAA tournament. Like, this is a winning program, and my thought process was, I want to win, because when I was in high school, we won 27 games. We were 27. We were undefeated my junior year. My senior year, we were 29-3. We finished 6th in the state. I'm used to winning games. I love winning games. Okay, that's all I was about. And I wanted to play ball, and I wanted to be part of something special that beat people. I just love beating people. And with us, and I want your answer within 2 days. Did he do that to you, John? Yeah. So he kind of an ultimatum, and I was like, the bottom line why I chose Illinois State was Illinois State. I had a lot of other offers, but Illinois State was a winning program.
All right, Big Sonny, we're going to talk our freshman year, right? We come in with 8 freshmen, you, me, Todd Starks, Mark Kratz, Sean Morris, Jay Teagle, Kevin DeCrane, and Tom Smith, 8 of them. We are, besides Sean is the walk-on, so he's the 8th spot. You and I are 6 and 7 on the list, because you got Jay Teagle won the state championship, and Kratz won the state championship. Kevin DeCrane's highly recruited. Todd's highly recruited. So let's talk freshman year. You come out of Rockford Boylan. You haven't lost more than about 4 games in 3 years, and then we lose to. Let me make sure I get this right.
Iowa State.
Thank you.
Chicago State.
Thank you. And DePaul. But at the Chicago State game, I get into the game. We're down how many, Steve? I'm trying to find that back up on the screen again. 85. We're down. We lost by 10 points. So I'm in the game. About 30 seconds to go. Bill's in. Tony's in. So I'm out guarding the guard out on the wing. I'm not really guard material. Get a great poke, get a steal, go the length of the court, and throw the ball off the back of the rim so hard that it hits the scoreboard. Go in the locker room, we lose. Coach rips all of us. Sonny is so frustrated with all of us, but he really takes it out on who will be I hope his boy for the rest of his life. Oh, it will be. And starts screaming.
He can't even dunk. Look. Here's the thing. Like, you're right. Like, I was used to winning games. Yeah, that's it right there. Before I got to ISU,
you guys
I was
teased me
used to
for
winning games, and I'm like, okay, we lost the first game to Iowa State, correct? On a free kick,
yes.
Whatever. Jeff Hornacek ended up in the NBA for a number of years. I mean, they were at least a legit team in my mind. Okay, I'd heard of Iowa State.
Right.
They didn't recruit me, but I had heard of them. And then now I got to backtrack a little bit. You guys got to understand, like, where I was at mentally. When I was recruited by, never came up. Okay, so after practice had started at the beginning of the year, Coach D, I don't know how many practices in, he was like, I really want you to. Coach D, he never told me during my recruitment at all that he was going to want me to redshirt my first year. Like, that redshirt this year, not for obviously a medical reason, but I think you need to work on your game, this, that, and the other. Da-da-da. I was like, I'd already bought into the program. I'm here.
Right.
If this coach wants me to redshirt, I'm like, okay, I was just like, I could have said no, but I'd bought into the program. Like, whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do it. And so I redshirted. So as a redshirt, as you guys know, you do everything the team does. You even, for games, you even get your ankles taped, you get the uniform on, you warm up, you do everything except check into a game. Okay? And I was doing that in these first 2 games, okay? So Iowa State, tough loss. Jeff Hornacek stole the ball at the end. Okay, fine. But then we play this Chicago State, okay, and I'm from Rockford, okay, and I heard of DePaul, I heard of UIC, I've heard of Northwestern, I've heard of Loyola, okay. I never heard of no damn Chicago State. I didn't know who. And I saw Scott Fowler on the earlier podcast. He knows all about Chicago State, okay. Well, when I was 18, 17 years old, I never heard of these jokers, okay. In my mind, these guys are a bunch of bums, okay? Because number one, I never heard of them. Number two, they didn't recruit me. I have no idea. Chicago State, like, who are these people? So they come into our house, and I'm like, we're going to blow these guys out. I'm like, who the hell's Chicago State? And you got to remember, I'm a redshirt fresh. Like, I can't play. Like, I can't help us. Like,
right.
I'm literally, my hands are, like, I can do nothing about this. When I'm watching us, like, struggle to beat this, what I thought was just a bunch of bums, okay? And here's Pemberton, and, I didn't know you at the time. I mean, we were basically brand new.
We weren't friends. We weren't roommates.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, we didn't really know each other, I mean, this is the very beginning of the season, second game, like, and I'm like, this is the 6'9" dude that's I'm going to run with.
Can't even
I mean, I was just like, my world was like coming apart. I was like, this guy can't even dunk the ball wide open. He goes and he rears back, and he missed it so terribly. I was like, oh my God. And we lose to these bums, and I'm just in the locker room. I can't mentally. I'm just losing my mind. I'm crying. I'm yelling. I'm screaming. Like, all my emotions come out. And you could probably ask Derek. You can ask William. You can ask all the older guys. They were probably like, get this kid out of here, losing his mind, But I didn't care. I was just like, I'm going to voice how I feel. I cannot believe we lost to these jokers. And here this guy who was recruited with me, my new team, he goes up and blows a dunk in such an embarrassing fashion. I was just like, I just said it over and over again. I was like, he can't even
over and over again.
Like, oh my
for
God,
like 20 minutes.
The game. Okay, fine. But at the end of the game, you blow a dunk on your home floor. Oh, I was crushed. And I didn't even play. I was terrible. That was terrible. Terrible. That was my immaturity, 18-year-old kid. I didn't know my butthole.
Were the coaches in there?
I mean, I was just, nobody said. I mean, I'm sure. In fact, I know it irritated Taphorn and Harris and probably some other guys, but I was just beside myself. I was just like, I can't believe this guy. I mean, I didn't know you. You were just this goofy 6'9", just guy who can't run. Like, you were just I didn't know you, man. You were just like this weird guy to me, man. That I was just like, he's going up and dunking like he's Dominique or something, and this dude just blew it. It was terrible, man. I'm telling you, it was terrible.
I hit it off the back of the iron so hard. It hit the scoreboard.
It did. It was just, what else could go wrong, And then coach comes in and he's pissed off, and it was just, the whole scene was just ugly. It was just ugly. It's just one of those things, first year, you remember, like, it was one of those downtimes, I mean, you probably felt terrible, right?
Oh my God, I did. I mean, missed the dunk as a freshman.
Yeah.
I picked this guy's pocket. How many bigs are allowed to go out on a floor and guard a 6'4", 6'3" wing? Yeah. And here I am doing it in Horton. I pick his pocket, and I'm gone. I got this, right? And
Chicago State 6'4" was probably the center.
Yeah. No, because we had Bratzik and Howfield, and I know you're telling jokes, and shut up. But we had Bratzik and Howfield on, so Bratzik couldn't guard. He couldn't even guard the centers most of the time, right? We love Bill. Bill's a goofball, but he wasn't fast enough to do that. So and then this had to be on the cover for the next 2 years because I redshirt the next year, and this is the '88 program, 2 years in a row. And you guys would just tease me all the time. You're like, hey, you missed it. Yeah. Oh. So let's move forward to their sophomore year. So I redshirt the next year. We're now redshirt sophomores together against, and we go to Iowa. So closing seconds of the game, Tapborn gets the shot.
I remember that.
Yep, we're Oklahoma in the thing. We're playing Iowa. They're ranked 5th. I set the screen for Matt on the first one. He misses the shot. My man Sonny will get the rebound underneath the basket and have the presence of mind to call a timeout so that we can reset and get another shot at this. So my boy did it. So it's the 3 sophomores and Ricky and Matt. So it's 4 sophomores. Gerard, Sonny, John, Ricky, and then Matt is our senior on the court. Harris is fouled out. Turn around, we get the ball. Matt hits the shot. So we're going to talk about the locker room then, and then you're going to go into the Oklahoma game after that.
Roy Marble from Iowa was from Flint, and our teammate, of course, Ricky Jackson, was from Flint. And I remember this being a big deal for Ricky to play against his boy, basically, that he grew up with. I don't know if they were on the same high school team, but they were both from Flint. And
yeah.
I just remember before the game, everybody picked Iowa to win because everybody was anticipating Iowa playing Oklahoma, the next night. And we played well that game.
We did.
I don't remember everything that happened, but we competed, and we had a chance to win at the end. And Matt hit a big shot, and that was a great win for us. And I don't really remember the locker room because we had a game the next day. But yeah, that was great. It was a great win, and I think we might have made national news that night, if I recall. I don't know, but
yeah, we were on ESPN. Yeah.
So that was a big deal to get that win, and then boy oh boy, when we played Oklahoma the next night, that was rough. They had Horace Grant's brother Harvey. He played in the NBA for a time with of course Horace Grant did. They had Stacey King, played with the Bulls. They had Mookie Blaylock, longtime NBA guy. And then I can't remember their point guard, but I know he played in Europe for a long time. I don't think he made it.
I thought it was Winston Garland.
No, he was at Southwest Missouri.
You're right, he was at Southwest Missouri. Yeah.
But anyway, they had basically 4 pros. 3 really good pros, four pros in my mind. And that was just ugly. The talent level was not the same. I don't know. It was like they were just better than us, And like you said, John, I remember the game. I try to forget it, but it was such a bad loss. We couldn't handle them. I don't know if we had a bad game. I don't know. I haven't watched the tape. I just remember them being like they just did whatever they wanted, and they didn't care what we tried to do. Mookie Blaylock's probably the quickest player I think that any of us ever played against. Just amazing player. Defensively, everything. Stacey King, big 6'11" center. He did what he wanted. And Harvey Grant, I think, had at least 20, 25. We just couldn't stop those guys. And that's why it was such an ugly loss. We couldn't get it going in the second half either. So, it was Oklahoma City. And then, we take the bus to the airport. Coach takes us, it's like back to Horton, right from the airport in Normal, right to Horton. And coach is pissed. With good reason. And he gets us, for some reason, you remember this, John? We couldn't get into our locker room in Horton. And we went into the visitors' locker room for some strange reason. I don't know what. But he wanted the team meeting right away. Like, this is 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, And I'm like, again, I played probably very little, but I'm thinking like, what's done is done. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning here, And the coach basically opened it up and said one thing: why did we lose like that? And you remember, John, everybody was silent. Nobody would speak up. For more than a little while, coach repeated himself, I want to know, why did we lose like that? And nobody said anything. So I just spoke up I know for sure he didn't like it that I said that. But I just said it. Within 5 minutes, we were out of Horton Fieldhouse because we were intimidated. I said it, and I know Cliff didn't like that. Seriously, I mean, when you tell Coach Donewald what he wants to hear,
he lets you go.
If he's not going to run you, I mean, the meeting was over because no one would say the truth. I just thought we were intimidated. I mean, they got up by 20, they got up by 30. Everything we tried to do didn't work. And then 2 months later, or whatever, 3 months later, we're watching these guys play against Danny Manning, NCAA championship game, lost to Kansas. Like, they're a great team, man. I mean, they were second place in the country that year, but they were an awesome, just a really well, so much talent, well coached. I mean, I don't know Tubbs. I don't really know the guy, but they had their stuff together in December when we played them. I mean, they just beat us like they didn't care who we were.
They did.
They're a really good team, okay? And we just couldn't match up. We couldn't play with those guys. Maybe later in the season we could have, but not in December.
Yeah. We had already made the deal in the locker room, you and I, right, at DePaul. And so that's probably a good way to roll into that. So, and so at that point I thought, well, shit, I'm now on my own from that class of 1985 because Sonny's going to be dead somewhere in a dumpster. And Coach is going to kill him. But let's roll into the... Right? I mean, when you say something back to Coach, all I can think of was William Anderson doing that. Now, you did it a lot more. You approached it differently than William did. But we saw William Anderson do it our freshman year, and he stopped playing for 10 games. Right, and we needed him, right? I mean, we needed William Anderson.
I mean, Oh yeah. A little bit different situation, John, comparing those two. I mean, because William's comment was, kind of calling out Coach. To say that, but I just had to. I mean, I was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Did we just get out of
Amen, brother. Yep.
I don't remember. Maybe I did.
Yes. So this is late December. Our deal becomes early December, and then we go to DePaul, and we played DePaul 85-86 at the Horizon. We lose by 20, 76-55, but they got Rod Strickland, they got Dallas Comegys. They're also loaded with all NBA guys. Basically gave them the middle finger, told them you and I are the post, and Todd. Matt's hurt, so it's Jeff and Cliff. So Zwart takes you and I, and we're off to the side, so we don't see it. Gerard told me this, and he's supposed to pull Gerard, but Gerard's watching instead of being with us. So it was always Gerard and Sonny and I. We were the three always together. When one was getting chewed, we were all getting chewed because they wanted us to learn from each other, which was a great relationship for the three of us because it worked out really well, by the time we were seniors. But we're all basically treated the same, the three of us. You're laughing about it, but it's true. So Starks basically tells Coach Jones to go F himself. Right.
Okay.
He didn't want to hear about it,
okay.
and then Todd goes and sits at the end of the bench, and we don't see him.
Right. And it was after the game, and we lost, and of course, not a good locker room. And I didn't know that happened during the game or halftime or whatever. I just remember in the locker room, like it was already decided between Todd Starks and Coach. He's like, "Get your stuff and go." Like he didn't even come back with us on the bus. He got it.
He didn't even get with the bus. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, again, I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute now. Todd was my roommate my first year. With him and Sean, and so I knew Todd a little bit. And this is our second or third year, right, John? This season that we're talking about, this DePaul.
Third year. We're juniors, but you and I are redshirt sophomores.
So, but him being our point guard, and because now we're in our third year, and I was like, I like playing with this guy, But now we're are in our third year in, and we know Todd pretty well, you know. And you got to remember, Todd Starks was the Missouri Valley Conference Freshman of the Year. Okay, Todd was a talent,
Amen.
A real talent, and you know, I got used to, oh, this guy can play. I mean, you want to play with guys that can play, right? And Todd was a player. I mean, he was really good player. And in the locker room afterwards, coach is like, get your stuff and go. All right, fine, you're gone. And I was shocked, number one, but then I got really pissed off. I was like, I can't believe this. Again, I was starting to get vocal again, and I was yelling. I don't remember what outcome. I'm like, yeah, I'm pissed. We just lost my point guard. I mean, I was like, what am I going to do now? He's gone. And I didn't like it. And I made it clear that I didn't like it. And Coach Jones, to his credit, just got up. He didn't argue with me. You know, he got up and walked away. And again, it's one of those times in your career that is unfortunate. You know, like, you don't want to lose good guys, good teammates, guys who can play. I mean, Todd was a player. And I was really disappointed. Because, you know, he came in with us, John. And,
Right,
I wanted to win with him. I wanted to graduate with him. You know, he was our class. And just really disappointed. And I'll give Coach D credit, you know, the next day or whatever. He's like, I understand how you felt, but Coach Jones wishes, you know, you wouldn't have talked to him like that. I'm like, you're right. I probably should have, you know, held it together a little bit better. But that was a tough night, man, because all of a sudden our point guard's gone.
Yeah.
You know, it was just really disappointing. I was yelling in the locker room at the Horizon, but I was really pissed off. And I think Coach Donewall sent AJ, Coach Jones, to get me.
Yep, and I said, I'm staying. And you said, looked at me and you said, I'm staying. And we were like, we're going to win a championship. We're going to get through this. But we got to do it together. Right?
That's true. You did. I'll give you credit, John. You did say that. And you said that in what was probably not the most appropriate time. Maybe it was in some ways, but I was not in the right frame of mind. So I'll give you credit for kind of bringing my focus back in, you know. And but we did make that agreement, and we were both serious about it. And even though I was really, you know, upset, we did make that agreement with each other. Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, that's 30 months before we'll actually get it done. Right? We still got to go through the rest of this season. We got to go through the first losing season at ISU in 40 years. First losing season as a Division I. And then we got to crawl out of that and try to win a championship. And we'll get it done. And that's the bond. Right? We talked about the I can't dunk thing. And we laugh about that. That comes up in a conversation somewhere between us all the time. And we laugh about it. This is the bond, and this is the teammate I was given. Couldn't have asked for a better teammate. You, Gerard, Ricky, Randy, and Sam, my 5, 6 seniors. I couldn't have been given a better situation to weather these storms, to grow as human beings, and then come back and win a championship, right? And to do it together.
I don't remember how good Indiana State was, but just everything was working for me that night. And there was, I don't know, first half, second half. There was one point in the game where Matt Tapborn kept throwing me the ball, and I actually, after I scored, I don't know if it was I got fouled, but before I went to the foul line, I actually went out to Matt and I told him, "Thank you for throwing me the ball," because you know what I mean. Matt and Jeff basically ran the offense. I mean, you know. They were, you know, the year ahead of us, and you know, but you know, that sounds kind of weird. And I remember, you know, Matt putting his hand on my head, you know, whatever. He thought it was probably silly, but that's just the memory I remember from that. And I don't know, it was a good win. That was probably the best offensive performance that I can remember in my 5 years for me personally. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. In Horton.
You also had 20 points in the next year against Bradley at Bradley, right, to bring home our second win against Bradley. I have the cassette for the Lucky Rewinds.
Yeah, I don't like Bradley. I don't like Bradley at all. What's the Italian coach? Not Versace. What was his assistant? Tony Baroni.
Tony Baroni.
Yeah, he was assistant with Coach Versace, and there was a kid, younger, I can't remember his name, that was in the class behind me at Boylan, and he went to Bradley's summer camp every year, and he came back saying Coach Baroni kept asking him, where's Sonny Roberts? How come he's not with you? How come he's not at our camp, Sonny Roberts? So I know Tony Baroni was a good guy. I can't say that Dick Versace was, but my memories of going to Peoria, John, I don't know how anybody could go to school there. Seriously, that town frickin' stinks, man. It smells. I mean, I don't know if it still does. It's been many years since I've been there, okay? But you know I-74, when you get over there and you go down that hill, you know, and you go down, you come over that hill and you see the river and you see the bridge, you know, you're going to go over and there's Peoria. It's like as soon as you start coming down that hill, you still smell the stench, you know, and I was just like, I don't know how these guys, I don't know. But then years later, you know, I got married and I moved to Chicago, and I find out that many, many, many years ago, the people in Chicago reversed the flow of the river, and all the excrement, all the waste, all the everything flows down the river to Peoria. And then I was like, okay, now I know why the place stinks.
Let's talk about the longest. I love to tease you about the longest drive in ISU history. We just watched the footage. It will be on when we're talking about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. You know, when you play for 4 years for Coach D, your focus is not to turn the ball over. Coach didn't like that. Taking care of the ball, all that stuff. And watching that video, I didn't know what I was. I'm guessing that, you know, I was trying to not one, and I don't know, by the time I got down to turn the ball over and just, you know, there was nobody for me to pass it to, so I just kind of kept going and go block, and I found an opening. I don't know, it was just the slowest, weirdest play. I don't ever remember doing that in practice. That's just one of those things. It's just, it worked out for me, I guess. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it, because I don't think I ever did it before that, and definitely not since. So, what do you think?
Well, and that's Rick Shipley. So, I mean, he is a strong dude. You basically kept him on your hip the whole way. I mean, that is a feat of strength right there, in my opinion. And I was the one on the block, and you're coming at me, and I didn't know what to do. And so I kind of get in your way more than anything. But and then you just made that, and I was like, yeah, you made the basket. And so, all right, man. So let's talk NCAA tournament. Yeah, so we win the championship. We fulfill our promise to each other, right? The pact we make in the DePaul locker room, and we get to go to the dance. Talk about going to the dance.
Yeah. That was just the best. I mean, that night, I remember there was Coach Bender had some type of get together at Redbird Arena for the announcement of the brackets, and that was fun. And then we're like, okay, we're going to Long Beach. You know, I'm like, that's cool, California. I mean, we didn't play out west very often, right? I think, you know, not much in our 4 or 5 years. So it was just a fun trip. You know, go take the bus up to Chicago, get on a flight out of O'Hare, and we checked into this nice Sheraton hotel there, across from the boat harbor there, and I remember the Queen Mary. Remember John was there, and I remember we had a little. That stuff you just never forget. That was just we made some plays at the end of that game against Southern. We got the win. I mean, it was just awesome. And little time one day before, and we went walking around. We saw the Queen Mary, and I still got the pictures somewhere. I got into one of those open wheel race cars, and you and I found, and the guy said, "Yeah, you can jump in it." Didn't let me drive it, but it was just fun, before the game. And then I just, especially watching Coach Mo and Coach, Billy King. It's like we have really good coaches, man, because we thought we could beat anybody. I mean, we weren't going to change who we were, going into that game. And I just remember our practices were, this is how we're going to win. I mean, we didn't care who they were. I mean,
right.
I just really enjoyed that, from Coach Bender and his assistants. I mean, this is who we are, and we're going to play our game, and we're going to go for it. And we did. And I thought we played really well that game. It got down, whatever it was, a minute and something. It was tied. And from what I remember, Higgins hit a three, and we missed a three. And that was the deciding difference. So we had our shot to take down the defending national champions, and we came very close, very close. But overall, it was a great, just so much fun. My parents flew out there; they were there. One of my aunts and uncles was there because they live in California. It was a lot of fun, man. It's just those things you never forget, and that's. I still have, this is very special, John. Of course, you got an NCAA watch. I mean, you got to play or coach and be a manager. You got to be a staff member. There's only certain people that can get these watches, and we got one. So really special. I mean, really fun. It's just one of those things you never forget. We had a blast, even though I wish we could have got the win.
You gonna show the ring?
Yeah, it's right here. This is what led to us getting that watch. The Missouri Valley Conference Championship ring. Yeah, so this, family heirloom now. Vaught was one strong MFer.
Yeah.
Really strong. I mean, I didn't play a lot that game, but when I did go against him, there's a reason he was in the NBA for 12 years, or whatever it was. I mean, he's a strong joker. So, again, future pros, we had our shot to beat him. We came, close, but not, close enough. So, it was a lot of fun. Definitely.
Yeah. Him and Terry Mills were beasts, yeah.
I'm really impressed by what each one of you three guys are doing with this podcast. Like I said, I've watched every episode, and I've learned so much about everything that's happened, not only before we got to ISU, but all these great teams. I mean, great teams that played. And I got to tell you, a lot of talent has played with that Illinois State jersey on. I mean, and you have really shown that, I think, just through these 40-some episodes. I mean, short conversations. I mean, just fascinating to hear the things that these guys accomplished. I mean, the things they could do. And, I mean, it's really impressive to me, So I got to give you a lot of credit for doing this podcast, all three of you, because I've enjoyed it. And there's a lot of talent has gone through ISU, man. And, as far as Coach Pete and I really like him. I think he's going to turn this around. I think he already has to some degree. I really liked what he said about his incoming freshmen, and I'm impressed with the guy. I mean, he's going to build a program that we're all going to be proud of. I'm sure of it. But when we look back on our time, John, you're absolutely right.
Well, yeah, and for those listening, Sonny was nice enough to draw. I got into Bloomington. I was moving back to Bloomington from Phoenix, and Sonny drove me from the Clark Kellogg thing last year, and I started pitching him, "Hey, we're at episode 12. We want you on the podcast." And he's like, "You gotta get to 44. I'm not coming on until you get to 44." I know damn well he was thinking we weren't going to get anywhere near 44 episodes. So as we started getting closer, he's like, I can do 88, right? I can do 88. But no, brother man, thank you so much. I mean, I couldn't have been blessed with better teammates to go through this, and and like you just said. So with that, my boy, Sonny Wray, number 44 in the program, number 1 in your heart. This is episode 44, Bird Fans Forever. Take us out, John. Yes.